Kevin, one of the things I'm seeing people say, and by seeing people say, I mean I have said as well, is that Connor McDavid is the best player to have ever lived. And I understand that Wayne Gretzky exists and had a better career, and McDavid have to play forever and do so much more to ever catch up to him. But just raw speed, skill, talent, ability. You've seen both these guys up close and personal. Can you give us your thoughts on what Connor McDavid is right now in NHL greatness?
Well, he's a treat to watch, Justin, and that goes without saying. Again, a tough comparison. But I would say this. I'll talk about Connor in a second. But relative to Wayne, the big difference now is 24-hour news and sports coverage and social media.
Right.
So all the stuff that Wayne was doing on a Sunday night in Los Angeles, when the rest of when all of Canada or the Eastern Canada and the Eastern United States were sleeping. That would have been all world stuff. Never got seen. So it's hard to compare the two. But having said that, Connor reminds me of Michael Jordan of how unbelievable he was, and the Bulls were a great team. But Jordan was just worth the price of admission, and I won't say that Wayne wasn't, because he certainly filled a lot of buildings, but it just seems that the off factor with Connor, because of he's bigger than Wayne, and Wayne was subtly flashy, whereas Connor has this the incredible speed, et cetera, et cetera. So it's great for hockey. Obviously, it's great for Edmonton and Alberta, but really good for the NHL that they have a bona fide must-see TV type of athlete playing in the league.
It was interesting, Lozy, to hear Matthew Tkachuk saying we're getting beat by one guy, and it's probably a theme that you had heard in your heyday with Wayne in Edmonton, and now I'm just wondering if Calgary going in tonight, like what kind of looks did Wayne have when teams had that mentality? And what kind of looks can you compare that to Connor will look at moving forward here? Because they are similar in that perception, aren't they?
Yes. So, Wayne, first off, there were teams that actually put a shadow on him. Steve Casper comes to mind when he played for the Bruins. Certainly Esa Tikin when Wayne went to Los Angeles and the Oilers played, John Muckler assigned Tikkanen to essentially shadow Wayne throughout the game. And Tikkanen is annoying as it is, let alone following around the ice. So can you imagine the Flames assigning, who would be capable? I don't think Tkachuk could do it because I don't think he's fast enough. But if they did have a player, it's really disruptive to the game, I think. And it's a different game now defending because, players are much more aware of defensive responsibilities than they were in our day. And, in other words, there's not very many odd man rushes, et cetera, because people are back. But I think, I was listening to Tim Hunter this morning talk about it. He coaches in the Western Hockey League. And, the Flames did, I think the fact that they made a lot of obvious errors as it is. Let's not discount how good Connor is, but they made mistakes that allowed for Connor to have more skating. So I suspect that that's not going to happen tonight. So it's going to be a little tougher on him. But long gone are the days when they could come out and try to bully him or hook and hold him or slow down the game as they did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s because the rules have changed and you can't do that.
So how do you assess the rest of the play of the Oilers? It feels like, we've talked primarily about Connor, and I think justifiably so, but, they're up 2 games to 1, and I think you don't get to that position without some contributions all the way around. What have you thought of the non-McDavid Oilers to date?
Well, the team, Justin, they finally figured out how to play in the playoffs. Yeah. This is a completely different team from the LA series. We might have saw glimpses of this team in games 6 and 7. But they are now, it looks like, and whether it's, and I credit Jay Woodcroft and Dave Manson for a lot of this, but they have anybody who's been successful and played in the playoffs, they know what it's like to play in the playoffs, what you have to do. You have to become almost a different player. And, look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, for instance. You got Stamkos blocking shots. I don't think he blocks a lot of shots during the regular season, but he's throwing his body all over the place. That's what you have to do. The Oilers weren't doing that previously. But, I look at a kid like Yamamoto. He's a $150 or 55 pounds and stuff. And, he's taking runs at Zadorov. And I'm sure the Flames will want to kill him next regular season. But he's just given it everything he has to make a difference for the Oilers. And I think, Duncan Keith has settled in and is playing comfortable. And, although he's 39, is really providing a lot of leadership for us. Vander Kane's been all world. What you see is what we've pretty much had ever since he walked into the Oilers dressing room door. And then, Leon, that line is wonderful. But, I like the balance of the team. I like, that we have a little bit of everything, but they have to play with that passion that you've seen in the last number of games. Otherwise, they become a pretty regular team.